So long as I was editing the other one, I might edit this one or not. I don't know if I'm going to, but we'll see. It's going to be weird switching gears away from, because I just barely filmed one of the update videos, which is the like, hey, here we go thing. And now I'm filming one of the Phineas Former the longer form videos. I did have thoughts about what this channel is, and I talked about that in the other video. I need to remember these are not purposeful videos. Which is to say, I don't know why I'm making this one, but it feels right, or at least it feels right enough. So what could I talk about? Maybe it's just like story time, at least for a little bit, because it's hard just pressing the button and then here we go. This is what the thing is. But so long as you're here and I'm here, let's see, we could do story time, because I did that meetup that was a social thing that I was like, I don't know if I want to do the social thing or not, but I don't want to talk about that. I could, but I don't want to, so we're not going to right now. Pacing is always good. We like to pace. Pacing is good. Pacing is a short form walk, by the way, because going for a walk can like help clear your head, you know? So if you have something only small going on, a minor, thing you got to work through, pacing is a minor walk. And I suppose if you pace a lot, it could equal out to be a long walk. But that's my thoughts on pacing. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on pacing. A 30-minute of this. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not opposed to it inherently. Something I was considering is I might be a bit of a thespian. I don't know how I feel about that, because I've been a thespian before. Not a lot, though. Usually in my head, I'm a thespian. So I might start leaning more into that. I think that would be really interesting to learn, and it would be a harder thing to learn. In particular, the other channel, because I can be rather a gregarious and larger than life personality when it so happens that that's what I feel like doing, what I feel like needs to be done. But more practice doing that in a very safely contained virtual environment. Yes, it's public, kind of. More than anything, it's shouting into the void. I hardly consider this to be public. Like, sure, it's available. People can see it and like it if they want, or stumble into it. But from now until effectively just kind of whenever, no matter what the subscriber levels are or how many comments a single video gets, the enterprise is fundamentally at the moment shouting into a void, which is going to be me getting into practice of trying to do bigger and better things down the line when I'm not shouting into a void anymore, but when it becomes more useful to say words, either in the real world or virtually, in more concise, just ways which matter a little bit more, when putting my personality to use becomes prudent. And that time will come, I imagine. Right now, that time is not. I don't have a reason to project my personality. There's nothing I'm doing that calls for... Is my arm out more? My elbow is in more. I think my tracker is wrong. I shouldn't be quite so chicken dancy. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it, and neither are you. I didn't know what I was saying once upon a time, and then the chicken dance arms, they got to me. But that's okay. If ever you're filming a Phineas Former the longer form video, and you don't know what to do, you can always pace. You can always pace. You can always pace, and you're in and out of the frame, and you can have fun. You can have a lot of fun when you're pacing in and out of frame. It's a little bit harder to have fun during the parts of life when you're not pacing in and out of the frame. But during the times that you're pacing in and out of the frame, oh, you're king. You are king. You are a god among men, and all of the furry boys want to be you. They look at you and they say, Phineas Former, you absolute madman, you mad lad, slow down and save some for the rest of us. I can't. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I could. I must pace. And then sometimes like, ooh. What? You can just do that. It's kind of fun. I'll never get over the fact that you can do that. And I'll never get over the fact that I feel like I'm supposed to learn how to pace. What? I think some people just know how to pace in front of a camera. I think a lot of people, if you put them in the situation I'm in, they would have naturally come into the pace, and I had to learn the pace. The pace life did not choose me, I chose it. Only when I decide to press play and make these videos, which I'm still learning more about, and it's not a bad thing to learn. And again, learning how to project not just that form of personality, but I think this. Recently, I was at a dinner, and it was put forth of me that I was. The phrase is serving a piece of anatomy. It's not appropriate to discuss in a public forum or setting, but it is. According to, I think, Urban Dictionary or something, because they looked it up to make sure that they were using it the right way when I expressed not exactly concern, but I was like, what on earth does that even mean? It is apparently the ultimate form of yassification, as though to say, I slay more than most. Still got no idea what that means exactly, but it was an excellent, like, you are rocking the social circumstance, and all I was doing was just sitting, being very calm and cool and collected because I was panicked a little bit on the inside, because I had just ridden my bicycle to that dinner, and it was a little further than I had anticipated, but it was also hotter and more sun bleh than I had anticipated. And I got there right on time, which is excellent, but I was a sweaty mess. I was just, don't look at me. I was socially insecure, but then I'm at the dinner, so I can't just not be there, and I should have shown up 15 minutes early so I could cool down, for crying out loud. So I was still cooling down in the dinner, and I was really uncomfortable with it, and then the bathroom kept being full, and I just wanted to go and freshen up, and then after I did finally, there wasn't even a mirror in there, and I was like, you fools, how is a vain man, such as myself, to cool down after his bicycle ride so he can be socially confident? So what I opted for instead, and then I did eventually get in and cool down, like it turned out to be okay. But during that time, and then the rest of the dinner, because it started out with, I'm not doing super great in my head. So I just sat down, and I didn't like quite go to my happy place. It wasn't that bad, but it was very, we got this. And I put on apparently an air of, we got this. Totally not a big deal. And it was a little bit, it's like, yeah, I just got off my bicycle. What did you do? You drove here? Awesome. How's your day been? Super cool. Hot weather, huh? Patio's nice, though, in the shade. A little bit of a breeze. I'm onto it. Totally cool as a cucumber. Not even a little bit, like, don't look at me, I'm a sweaty mess. I don't feel very good about myself right now. It was like, nah, it ain't no thing. I totally played it off like it was ain't no thing. And apparently, that was a very socially savoir-faire move. And I can make that move more frequently. It's just I often have a really frantic energy, and I employ it because I don't know what to do with it. And I think there might be something to that, like having a really frantic energy, but not needing to employ it. And I don't think it's hiding who you are. I think it's not projecting yourself onto a situation by just throwing out energy and hoping something sticks. Because I think, yes, it's likely that some of the things you do or say during those moments of franticity, they're gonna work out, but some of the times you're gonna say something that might not work out, and I think those at best are gonna cancel each other out, and one of my fears, at least, would be when I'm in one of those moments that you can't, that you annoy someone because you are too much and too static and you have too much of a frantic energy and you let too much of it out. And I don't know. So for a little bit, I felt like expressing all of that is the genuine form and hiding that or holding it back is ingenuine. So I think instead, maintaining it in reserve. So if something comes up conversationally, you have that piece of franticity you can bring forth. And the rest of it can just be sit, bide your time, allow the conversation at the table to develop until such a point that it becomes socially prudent. And that's the big key, is opening the floodgate, like under a consistent rule set, where if it becomes socially prudent to say one of these inside thoughts, if all the thoughts are going to be inside thoughts and we're going to let them out one at a time, that actually works really well if you maintain a damn near perfect calibration of either in that social circumstance or just, for me, it's the more I latch into what my personal threshold is, what I consider to be too much participation, not enough participation. And if I let the floodgates out more than I typically do, that's pretty good. Because usually it's an all or nothing gig. But if I've spoken, I had this conversation point, we'll let the other people develop, and right now they're telling a story, but they have like more rapport with each other than I do. So I'm not going to interject with my story of going to visit California because they have a California story that they're sharing all at the same time, and trying to be a little bit more aware of that. And I guess I don't always keep in mind what the social aspect is up to and what that's doing. I'm usually really wrapped up in how can I relate in this circumstance opposed to how is the circumstance. And then adding myself in as the circumstance needs, in which case I am building the environment alongside everyone else, not trying to put myself in it, which is what I usually do because I want to be part of the social circumstance. Of course you want to put yourself in it because otherwise you're not going to be part of it. And just resting and understanding I am part of the dinner. I'm part of that moment. We all share that piece of the world together. And my periodic, like white space in art, wildly important. You need periods of downtime in order for your art to come out the right way. If the whole thing is super busy, it's just, what are you doing over here? It's way too busy. So I just let it rest and worked with everyone to build that social moment, and apparently that was received well, which is excellent news. I haven't considered yet what it's like to employ that internally, and I love taking, those little fathomings and turn them into an internal force. Last time I did that, I actually kind of enjoyed just, like, going for it. And it turned out to be my favorite part of one of the previous videos I made is the camera zoomed in and it was just, you know what, nope, we're going for it. My play space is oriented a little bit differently though. My camera wasn't all the way at the wall because sometimes it's nice to pace behind it, but it was just in a good enough orientation. And I wanted to keep that good enough because sometimes you don't want to fiddle with, is my audio, I did have to check my audio, but like, is my microphone just the right way? Is my headset placement just the right way? And I kind of like a certain element of good enough. And learning for me what that's like for something to be good enough or technically good enough, the camera is in a good enough position. And then even when something like this happens, be like, well, we're good enough. We're barely not quite good enough though, because as I was saying, the camera's in such a space. And last time, see, I'm up against my wall, but it's the wrong wall. And this is my portrait of a lion. I got it at a thrift store for $7 and I keep bumping against it. And that's no good. And so I have to, unfortunately, we've all enjoyed our close-up time together. And right now we are no longer enjoying our close-up time together. It has overstayed its welcome, as they say. So I am going to show you, so long as we're here, my pink shoulder in high definition. Look at how pink that shoulder is. And I can't wait for the model to get done professionally so I can have a professional pink shoulder. I would show you my blue leg, but can I kick like that? Whoa, barely. That wasn't even the right leg. Was that? Oh, that was the right leg. All right, time to fix the camera though. I love my leg. You love my leg. Guys, blue leg. What are you going to do? What are you going to do without a blue leg? Weep and wish for a blue leg of your own. And I think honestly what's probably going to happen is you're going to invite the Panther Boy with a blue leg to prom. I have that kind of confidence. Apparently, I have more social savoir-faire than I imagined, which is nice to employ because I always imagined myself as understanding. Oh, I gotta think about that one for a second. I think I was about to tell a lie. That's bad. Don't tell lies. That is not socially appropriate to tell lies. So, hang on, let's see. What was I? So, because I like to consider myself as understanding people at least a little bit well. Something like building a social environment together because we're all sharing a world together. So what does this moment require? Me, less of me. And I like if there's someone who's shy and having a hard time in the social circumstances. Sometimes someone who's just a little bit more softly spoken will say something and completely be overridden by what's going on, like people didn't pick up what they said. But it was something that was going to contribute to the conversation. And so kind of politely bringing that back on in and helping fill in that gap feels more like boosting someone else opposed to me adding in my thing. But it's altogether crafting the environment, though, which is what I would be doing if I added my own 2 cents anyway. So understanding a social circumstance in that way and helping craft it together, I love that. I consider myself reasonably good at doing that. So it's interesting that I also am still developing um, myself, and where do I keep myself in versus project myself out. And some circumstances I'm better at it than other circumstances. And I just wonder what the metric is for turning it on and off. And that's something I think I should probably examine. And we might as well do that now. I mean, we've got another 15 minutes or so. So, what are we going to do for 15 minutes if not examine the social intricacies of when or when not to open the floodgate of personality out? When is it okay to affect a social circumstance, opposed to when is it better to let it run its course? I think we can figure that out in 15 minutes. I think we can crack that code wide open in 15 minutes. We just got to think about it a little bit, and it's going to help if we pace. So, you can even pace really close to the camera if you want to. I don't know if I recommend it, but you certainly can. So, I think some of it, likely a lot of it has to do with how much you care about the social circumstance. If it's a friend's birthday party and they're nervous about it, then you might turn on the social circumstance engines to help make sure it's a really good party. And if someone's getting too drunk and isn't reading the room the right way, you could kind of like run interference or something like that. I don't know if that's a good role to want to take socially. And you have to have a lot of confidence that you're going to help make the thing better instead of just meddling and annoying everyone in low key ways. But I think just kind of not exactly even running interference, but just, you know, there's going to be problems in this group vibe. So what are we gonna do about that? I like that. To me, that makes sense. But if it's low key, if you're at work, suffer through work. It doesn't matter. If something's going on that's something, I don't need to craft an excellent social environment at work. I just show up, do my job, get paid, whatever, right? Or if I'm like with one or two friends of medium closeness, or someone like I'm like testing the water with, or if it's a guy I met on like one of the apps for men. That's not usually a really important. Got to make sure we get that social circumstance right. Maybe I got out of that game a little bit ago though, where you want to make good, or maybe they're the one, or then maybe they're you never know what's gonna happen, and it's like, yeah, sure, so fuck it. Like, I have a lot of my own things to put time and attention towards, things that I can affect. And you can't always affect the outcome. You can put all of your heart in making videos and no one sees them, but then also that's kind of the point because you're shouting out into the void. And if I wanted people to see them, I would at the very least put it in thumbnails. So there we go. Which I do enjoy, by the way. I prefer the shouting out into the void because I like it more so than like human number go up. I like when funny number go up, but I also just like when I have this because I like this. And this is a symbol of having a vision, pursuing it doggedly, and enacting it. Um, Allowing myself to buy into all of the VR gear because I knew it was going to be important for ways of learning self-expression, and it was just something that sounded really fun. To be one of the furries I lusted after on either Twitch or on YouTube, and it's like, I want that, but then I'm not, so then I'm watching it on the social medias, which I do less of now, and I want to like be them, and so it's like, well, now I am them, technically. Whether I should be, I don't know. I don't really think so. And I don't run in any social circles with any of the furries who are like this. But I don't think any of them are quite like this, because usually they're talking about like furry things or hanging out with furries or whatever, or doing like tutorials some of the time on like art, I guess. None of them are really talking about this stuff. And there are some furries who just like talk. So I'm not alone in that regard. I am a little bit alone in my style of presentation, and a little bit with I have a reasonably nice, or a nicer enough microphone, nicer enough. And I try to bring a little bit less of I don't know what to make. I just don't know. Because you can do this as a way to try and learn confidence. That's totally fine. I'm doing this a little bit more to employ confidence that I've considered myself as being able to have if I ever were to bother in a social circumstance world putting it out there. And I haven't really felt that need for a while. Which I think it could be a lack of confidence, but I don't think it has to be a lack of confidence. I think it could just be, I gotta turn my fan on. My fan is not on, and I wondered why my room's getting really hot. And it could be because I'm filming VR, and it's summer. It could be that I had an energy drink and some water, but not a lot. Mostly I've had an energy drink instead of water, so I'm getting really hot. I'm going to turn the fan on. I did test the audio briefly, so I think it should be okay. If it's not okay, I deeply apologize. But we're turning the fan back on. Fan, go on. And if it's not perfect, video's not perfect, and that's okay. We accept these things. We accept them, in fact, wholeheartedly, because it can't be a perfect video, at least not one I can craft. So stop trying to craft a perfect video, maybe just settle for crafting one that you're like reasonably happy with, and I'm not unhappy with this one at all. Do you have any idea how much pacing we did? What a phenomenal amount of pacing we've done. And you would dare look at me and suggest, Phineas Former, your video was a failure. It only had 20 views. It only had me. It didn't have subject matter. It had subject matter. It had like 3 stories I never finished. Subject matter. So that is exactly what we're doing. But no, I finished. I started. No, hang on. What? So this visage reminds me of having a dogged path that I'm following, I guess, to buy into all of the VR gear, and then I textured my model that I was happy with, and then this one came out, so I retextured this and made a new guy because this is such a smile boy. And I didn't meet any at the meetup. I kind of met one because I expressed I'm sad I'm the only kitty cat. And then the other guy had a cat also who was an OC he was building. So he was like, just wanted you to know, you're not the only cat. And I was like, I really appreciate that. And his cat looked really great, but it wasn't him. It wasn't like his natural form. It was like a character he had. So close, but no cigar. I am a kitty cat through and through. More kitty cats. I also want to amend myself. I do not consider myself to be one of the furries that I see on the internet, because I'm doing different things than they are, and all the furries that you see are usually doing like TikTok or more, like they have, I guess, more engagement than I do, or just more practice at the thing. But again, if that's something I wanted, I could absolutely start a YouTube channel or a TikTok and do like dances or whatever, or share some of my little 30-second semi-demi quasi wannabe philosophical thoughts. I could be that guy on TikTok. Easy. I could be the furry philosopher. I've got so many. Akin to riding a bicycle, you can learn what different systems are like. For instance, you can build a novel writing engine within your mind. So if you don't need to write a novel, you know how to do it, and then you can just put that completely, let it collect dust in your brain. So when the time comes in the future it's time to write another book, you've done it before, you can just brush it off, and then time to set sail. And if you never know what to do at any given point in your life, you can just build a new machine. Or if it's one you don't have a lot of practice in, you can just practice that to get better at your skills as a human, so you're more viable in more situations. And you can't ever say, I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my life. It's like, no, it's not. You're building a new machine. And then when the time comes, I know more about video editing than I did because I've done video productions in high school. I've done a few, video projects on and off to keep the skill a little bit sharp. So I was able to brush it off without too much concern. And that went really well. My style of writing for a very long time was always write something, upload it, polish it, like get it out. So, and I have enough writing experience, including writing swiftly, writing it, write the first time, get it out, time to go. So I was able to employ that beautifully when it came time to sit down. I had only a few hours to write the story I uploaded for the game jam. And I was able to just do that in absolute confidence. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it had a silly writing style because I trusted my writing style, what I was writing, and it's time to set sail. That went really well. We were very happy with that and how it turned out. And that's an example of some of the machinery that I've learned. Another one is I have enough musical savvy to be able to work on music with someone when the time comes. Not to be able to do an especially good job, but just to hold my own, to be able to be part of the conversation as we all craft something together. I know music well enough to do that. I know videography just enough, barely, to have a conversation with, say, an actual filmographer. So I could work with people who are better at making videos than I am and be part of that conversation because I know only enough to help someone else who's better than me get on the same page as I am. And if I know like the director's language or what actors are like, I would love to write and make a little furry soap opera drama. That would be amazing to me. Because I have it in the vision, in the head, I'm swift with writing, and I'm sure that there's furries who would love to act. I could absolutely do that. That sounds like an absolute blast. Are you kidding me right now? That sounds like so much fun. Write a story, get two furry actors to act it out, and then I would have a filmographer, and I know there's a couple of furries who like filming, and some of them, myself included, could have multiple camera, like multiple PCs to film multiple camera angles at the same time, someone who can help mix the audio really well. You've got people who are very talented, and I could absolutely bring them together because I speak only enough of all of these similar languages to be able to get everyone on the same page, and any one of them could do a much better job than I could. For example, real quick, hang on, let me get into if there was, so if I was going to be a thespian, if I was going to act something out, I'm not very good at it, and I'm a little bit shy, a little sheepish with it, but I do want to try it out, just to see, even for my own self, what it might look like, and then if I actually can do it or not, because I think I might just be talking out of my ass, but what it would look like for me to do it, and then what it might look like for someone else to do it. So hang on, let me pop into character for a sec. Okay. All right, I got it. That was sinister. That was sinister villain pacing. I hope you liked it. That was my slate. That was my acting experience. And so I think actually I'm going to be the villain. I think in the stories that I write, I think I'm going to be the villain. The pace. I think it's going to be, you know, it's hard and it's lonely being at the very top. It's rough. But you guys got the first view. You got the first look, the first examination, the first Phineas Former walk across the frame, evil villain pacing. Oof. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. You guys are some lucky ducks indeed. We're almost there. Almost at the mark. I forgot my watch at work, and I went to work, but I work at a grocery store, and I had to do shopping, and I was also going to get my watch. I'm tapping where my watch is supposed to go, but it's not there because I left it at work. It's gone. And after I got home from the store that I also work at, I realized, oh, I forgot my watch. And then I realized, like, I don't need my watch for a little bit. It was really important that I was able to get calls and texts really consistently, so I needed my watch all the time. I just got in the habit of, like, I need my watch all the time. And now I don't have my watch, but I don't need it all the time. Mostly what happens is I was like, oh, I got a spam call. Yes, now I know I got that. I don't need that. I do need it at work, though, because sometimes I have an earbud in when I'm stocking shelves or whatever, and you're not supposed to. So whenever a manager comes by, and I always have like a gopher, like a pet gopher, hedgehog, Timon. What is Timon and Pumbaa? A cat? Or no, a meerkat. A meerkat. Because I know that they like pop up and they have like beep beep, like they're looking all over the place. They are little studious boys, and I have that kind of a vibe going on sometimes at work. And when I see a manager walking, just walking in the vicinity, then I like quickly like music all the way down to like volume setting 1, so I can be like, hey, what's up, boss? Nice, casual, honest conversation. I can hear you clear as day because my music is on ambient mode, and plus it's on volume setting 1. And it's not like I'm going to turn off my angry stocking shelves music, or sometimes it's really calm because I have an angry energy sometimes, and sometimes I can be too staticky even for myself. So sometimes, I'm having a really rough day. If I have ambient calm on, it's like, don't look at the man, Phineas Former, don't touch him, don't talk to him, don't look at him. He's stocking shelves and he is listening to new age piano. We're all in trouble. It's interesting. If I'm listening to math rock or something like Modest Mouse, which is the sound of my mind, we're good. We're good. We're happy. This is awfully chaotic music. The chaos is the sound of my mind. I love a good, slightly organized chaos. So we're going to end the video on that little note. Ooh, what a banger! What did we learn today? Phineas Former is a phenomenal thespian. He makes an excellent villain. That's pretty much the only takeaway. And the rest of the video was build up to that moment. What a good moment it was. All right, so that's another one in the bank. Gosh, another one in the bank. You'll love to see it. Now, the only curiosity... Oh, it's not even a curiosity. It's a fact. You don't get it now. You get it in the next one. Oh, what a good fact. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.